Hey, Maria. Maria, it's so good to see you.
I know. I'm just always excited when I'm like, yes, we get to do this. I love it.
One of my favorite people I've never met. You're on my list of one of my favorite people I've never met. It's so wild when you feel like you know each other. Okay, so congratulations on your book, New Moves in Menopause. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, I mean, I knew I would just because of your whole essence and vibe and what I've learned about you in the time that we've known each other. And it was just like a balm for the soul. I don't know what's like, it's a big deal to write a book. So, what was the thing that you wanted to get out there?
That's such a tricky question, and I could talk for it for an hour. I really just wanted women, anybody that would actually, anybody could read this book and get something out of it. But I think what's missing out of midlife right now is for women to take time to talk to themselves. And I do this in my coaching practice a lot. And I thought, how can I reach a wider audience and help them take some time in a fun way? How can I bring myself into a book? Like the essence, like what you were saying, my idea was bring what I bring from a fun perspective, because I hope that's what I bring, into a book and get people to enjoy this ride. And I wanted the book to be very tactile. As you'll see, I'm asking everyone to bring out their colored pencils and their highlighters and scissors and glue sticks. We're making a map. I'm helping you make a map of your own, what you want from a movement perspective, to how you feel with your body. And I wanted it to be fun. I wanted that childlike approach to that we forgot. And I hope that's what I got through. I'm very proud of it. It took forever to write. It came when it started, it was a very like, here's what I think you should know. And then it morphed into this, no, let's get on an adventure and I'll just be your guide on the side, but I'll cheer you on and I give you some ideas and I give you some prompts. And this is a book for someone that's ready to tune out the noise and tune into themselves. That's really what it is.
Yeah. You talk, women who get to this stage, you talk about this, they don't know what they like or what makes them happy even anymore. And why do you think that is? And how do you start to get at that?
First, you have to want to. That's the big one. And you have to have that spark of curiosity. I think we've lost it along the way of life. That's really what life happens. Children happen, family happens, careers happen, grief happens, change happens. All of those things where slowly but surely we prioritize other things, other people, other whatever, and we move down on that list, down and down and down, and we lose our identity because we morph into someone else's need of identity, which is good and bad, right? It's not bad to evolve or change, but I think when we look back, most people have this, I wish I could just be a little bit more what I used to be. How do we hear this all the time. I want to have my 20-year-old body. I dare to say that 20-year-old body is attached to the feeling we had in our, whatever age you want to say, rather than the physical body. And we don't make that connection of just, I want to feel that way. And for me, it's always been this not having to worry about, am I going to look silly? Am I going to look this? Look how women are being constantly judged on what they do, what they wear, what they don't wear, if they have too much makeup, not enough makeup, they cut their hair, they do the things, they color their hair, then they're every day. We're never enough. And so what if we just say, now's the time to take it all back and reinvent? And then in my book, I do a lot of that. Let's take account of what we liked from the past that maybe we lost, maybe a hobby we used to do, maybe a movement we used to do. I talk about, I played racquetball when I was in my teenage years. I loved it. Came to the States and I just stopped because it wasn't accessible. I was starting a career, like life. And then I started doing it again and I'm like, why did I stop? So that's what I want. I'm like, is there a reason we stopped? And if there's a reason, can we overcome that reason? Or can I replace what I got from that with something else?
I went to surf Abu Dhabi with my nephew when he was visiting at Christmas. And it's a weird place because it's concrete, but there was a guy from the Philippines teaching us and he was showing, I said, like, how do I had surfed once. I'd had one lesson in Hawaii like 15 years before. And I got up but the whole time I was like, this is terrible. We're going to hurt ourselves. Like the stuff that was running through my head was so crazy. And he said the kids always do great and the adults are just like way into their heads and they think they're not in shape enough to do it. He said there's just so much noise that comes from us. We have just like, when we put it, so I get it why you don't go back and play racquetball or why you don't go surfing, even though you kind of dream of it. And it's like, how do you get over that hump? Because I know I talk about this with women. I talk about simple things like just stretching at night, like stretching at night or doing a little bit of yoga just to calm your nervous system. And I get like immediate, like, well, that's not for me. Like I couldn't do that. Do you know what yeah, obviously you get this as a trainer. So what is that immediate, like, and how do you get over it?
Well, I think it's a lifetime of being told what we're supposed to be doing. And now in the menopause space and midlife space, it's worse. I mean, social media has done nothing but make it worse because that constant noise is so overwhelming. Even for someone that is adjusted and is like, yeah, I know how to say no, it's still a seed that gets planted of just, well, maybe I should make room for that. But to make room for something you don't want to do means you have to eliminate something that you actually enjoy doing. And so it takes work. And that's why so many of us don't do it. Because you have to be able to, first of all, maybe you have to limit your social media consumption. I mean, that is a number one. You have to curate that feed and start surrounding yourself with people that are already doing some of the stuff that you'd want to do. So that community aspect, I do believe, and I started doing menopause pop-ups here in Austin. It's a new venture of mine, of just building community, where it is, what if we stop, as fun as it is to meet people all over the world on Zoom, which I love, that 4 or 5 women having a coffee and just jabbering away, there's nothing that replaces that. Yeah. There's nothing like finding another person that takes you to go play racquetball, or that takes you to that first Zumba class, or that takes you to that first something. So I dare to say that community aspect is the biggest tool you can have. And one thing that to overcome, and I've heard this in my groups, is that how hard it is as an adult woman to make new friends. It's very hard because we've lost friendships along the way for many reasons. And we don't go to clubs, we don't go, the things where you may have
a long time, yeah.
Right? Where do you meet them? So you have to make an effort. You'll be amazed at how many resources there are. Community events. So in your local community, libraries are fantastic for community events. There probably is a club of some sort in your city of the thing that you wanted to try. And there's nothing better than to go into a club of people that already are doing what you're like, no one's going to give you the side eye. No one's going to tell you you look stupid doing it. No one's going to so you have to find someone. You're not here alone. So that first step is just Google, I don't know, some weird club that you're really wanting. You're like, I wonder if someone else is into this weird shit. There probably is.
Women have been, I know I was like a lifelong like fixer-upper to myself. Like I was just constantly a self-help project. I never got married, so I always thought I've got to fix myself because I didn't do this thing that everyone else did. And I mean, it extends to every part of my life, and I know other women are the same. It's like we're just always striving, and then I see that sort of fanning out into perimenopause and menopause. So how can we lose that and try to find ourselves again? Like just be okay and try to find ourselves again and exist and get through this as well.
That's such a great question because we all struggle with some version of that. And I think that the biggest tool for that one is to really you have to, again, I'm going back to this, but you have to acknowledge that it's going to take a little work to have honest conversations with yourself. Why do you feel like you need to fix yourself up all the time? Where's that why? And what's that motivation? Like, what is it? And when we get to that initial motivation, I think that's where some of that healing happens. That's where it's like a trigger, right? Something happened, and it doesn't have to be a super traumatic event of some sort, but something is making you do these things or is motivating you to do these things. And how do we replace that motivator then? Because I think once you identify it and bring it into the light, and that's the thing, what lives in the closet is always dangerous. When we open the closet and we put a really bright light in there, all the critters start to just and you have to let them go. And I have this conversation all the time with body image issues. You have to be able to have a conversation with yourself, with your monster, and make friends to some extent. You don't have to like each other, but you have to acknowledge, and you have to say, I see you, but I'm no longer wanting to be like, attached to you.
Yeah.
You can come, and I know you're going to pop up here or there, but I'm not going to acknowledge you. I'm going to gray rock the hell out of that one.
Gray rock is so good. Gray rock. If people don't know I know gray rock as how you act if you interact with a narcissist. You're just like, it's exactly what it says.
It has saved my life. Gray rocking has really done just difficult situations, and I've had to learn a really hard way to gray rock it. And I am a very visual person, so I always see like the gray rock, you just let it slide over. You don't show any emotion, you give nothing, but then you can turn it over and it's all glitter, but you only turn that rock over when you want, for people that do that. And the body image monster is a horrible narcissist. So but you have to acknowledge them, and you have to interact with them. And that's the hard part, because I think a lot of women aren't ready to open that Pandora's box, because you don't know what's under there. And that can be very scary, because there could be something that you've worked really hard to suppress, to not acknowledge, to not work through, because you've never been ready to do that. And I just don't think that you can get into that, peaceful, joyful, while you're still being anchored down with that weight. And I'm not saying this is easy. I've never said any of this is easy, but it is so worth it if you're wanting to, it's so freeing when you let go of a lot of this stuff, but it's very, very hard.
It's like your junk drawer in the kitchen, or your closet that you haven't, or the pot that's about to boil over. You can't really exist like that. You're trying and limping along. Okay, so you've had your own body image issues, exercise addiction. That was something I struggled with, and I didn't think I had it, because I told myself if I was truly addicted to exercise, then I would have a much better body, which is the most insane thinking ever. Right? Like, that shows you how messed up I was about it. But anyway, when you're in the fitness industry, I have covered the fitness industry. It's rampant, where you have people advising other people. How did you sort of navigate that, coming to terms with your own, issues?
The fitness industry is awful. It is the most damaging. We're supposed to be beacons and guides, and we tend to be. A lot of people tend to be much worse, and making people worse in their body image issues. For me, my turning point for me was having a child. That really was, because, my body, I had my daughter at 41, and my body, although I lost the weight, that I didn't gain a huge amount more than I needed, I was able to lose the weight, but some of the stuff didn't bounce back. Excess skin, things just didn't go all the way back. And we're sold that lie. And so for me, I've had to come to grips to saying, I never want to hear my daughter hear me say something negative about my body, because I don't want her to have these issues. So for me, it was that she was the reason why I was like, this isn't right. And I started having kinder conversations with myself. And it was a slow process. She just turned 11. And I feel like I'm in a good place now. But I will look in the mirror and be like, I don't like it, but I'm not letting it deter me or like derail me like it used to. I'm still going to do what I want to do. I'm still going to wear what I want to wear. But again, this is hard. It's hard work, but it takes it one little step at a time. So I always ask people, some of the tools I think that are really important is identify that trigger. What triggers that body image monster to come out? There's always triggers. It could be family. It could be the mirror. It could be, and once you identify those triggers, then we need to, like an onion, but then we need to unpeel it. Is it a trigger I can avoid? Because a lot of them we can. Is it a trigger I need to just have strategies around when I meet my family? I need to be able to set strong boundaries and say, I don't want to have any conversations about anybody's bodies or about my diet. I'm going to do what I want to do. Again, hard conversations. So those are big ones. And then I think a lot of times looking beyond yourself helps you see how ridiculous the conversation with yourself is. When you're looking at someone else and saying, would I say this to this person I love? And I know it sounds simple, but it isn't simple. But that repetition, the constant repetition, and then eventually it stops having those sharp teeth because you're grinding it down. You're just like, no, no, no. And sometimes you'll still have those bad ones. And one thing that I think is crucial to this conversation is that you are not ever going to not have like bad image days. It's just, I don't believe it exists. I really just don't. If people say it, that's great. Good for you. I love that journey for you. To be honest, you will have really bad days and you will have really awesome days. But most of the time, I want you to be in the middle. That Valley of Neutrality, I call it. I want you to be there because that's a space where you can just be.
I love it. I'm writing
And
down the Valley of Neutrality.
that's it. I want that. But telling people and telling yourself that you at some point will just always love your body is such an unrealistic expectation, and you will fail. And so you're setting yourself up for failure. And that is, I think, crucial. For me, it's been crucial to just say, it is what it is.
Well, that's the issue with the whole wellness, and that's what everything was sold, is that there's a place that you'll get to and you'll be free of all these worries. And I think we all just grew up on that. Like, I was reading all the fitness magazines. It just feels like, well, when I get to that place, none of those problems will exist. That's what they sell you. And now we're in the middle of something that's so bizarre, because you have all these fitness people who told you that you just had to do that and you would get to a place. And then many of those people now are saying, actually, I'm taking all these peptides. You don't have to say where you fall down on them, but they're shooting up, and they're taking GLP-1s, and they're adding, because it's a whole new business angle, but it's just what everyone's doing. Now everyone's shrinking. And I feel like all these people that were telling you that you could get to that place that didn't exist are now saying, like, now you have to do this to get to that place that doesn't exist. I don't know. How do you navigate this?
By not having other people tell you where to go.
Yeah.
Like that is the solution. If you look for solutions externally, for someone to sell you a solution, you're always wrong. Like, you're always going to be, it's someone giving you a map that constantly changes, like a magic map that constantly changes.
Yes.
And you're like,
yes.
Oh my God, I thought I took the right turn. And now it just kind of, like a comic book, it goes, whoop, and now it's a new map. Yep. And you're like, oh my God, where am I? Yes, but it's someone selling you a magic map. You need to make your own map. Like, this is really, really, really crucial for you to say, I already know. Like, if we were to trust our own knowledge over other people's, whatever they call themselves, expertise, I don't fall anywhere on peptides and GLP-1s and I think if people want to do what they want to do, more power to you. I have a real problem with people selling things and being dishonest when they know nothing about them. That is, to me, like, that hustling and that deceiving, that I have a problem with those people. However, I also don't need to like them. But if someone comes to me, a client comes to me and says, what do you think about so-and-so? I'm going to give them my opinion and why I have an opinion about it. But I'm never going to discourage anyone from doing anything, because it's your body. I'll give you my scientific knowledge, and I will let you know that most of these things don't have any scientific knowledge. I know we have with the peptides discussion and those NMAs, and we have things now coming out saying, well, there potentially are, that's going to backfire. Oops, because we didn't have any science to begin with. And so a lot of promising, I love how things now are, all this promising research and rat studies, and then things are being pulled out of thin air, literally out of thin air, to sell a product. And so for women, my advice always is, why are you chasing that squirrel? Because that's what it is. I want people to stop chasing the squirrel and just kind of sitting there and admire the tree. Because there'll be another squirrel that comes by, If you stand
we've seen so many in our lifetime, like so many.
When are you gonna stop chasing them? Because you're gonna go crazy. I have my golden doodle. Well, she loves a good squirrel, but she's never gonna get that squirrel. Never, ever is she gonna catch it.
Nope.
And so that is the thing. And this, Anne-Marie, this always goes back to that same, what if we went back and figured out how many of these things we've already tried in the past and didn't work? Why do we think that we need to stay on this wheel, like constantly on this hamster wheel? When are we ready to get off the wheel? And some people are not ready. And that's okay. You're not quite there yet. But if you have wondered where the exit is, you're in that spot to be curious about what that would mean to actually get off. I want to hand women doors to get off and to enter a space that is quiet.
Yeah, imagine a crazy hall, And then, you're freaking out and everyone's freaking out and you just see some like nice people going, come on, come on. That's a good segue to the menopause conversation because, there's supporting women through menopause and then there's scaring the bejesus out of them and convincing them that they are broken. That seems to have very quickly, I think it's always happened, but I've seen it just wow. We don't need to scare the bejesus out of people to help them. So how do you walk that line and navigate that?
I think it's a really, really easy line to walk because you either scare people or you don't scare them. Like it's either, it really, I just don't, it's either you have some credibility and honesty and professionalism and kindness or you don't. There's not a gray zone. You either, I have unfollowed so many people that I've followed over the years because they've turned to the dark side, and it could just be something that I know, and we all make mistakes, and when we say something, and if you acknowledge it, go for it. But there now has come a line where people don't just say some things like, oh, oops, I misspoke. It's a full on, that there is no science, and that there's no reason for you to threaten women with death or brain death or something if they don't do HRT. And that's a choice you made, and that for me is a hard pass. And that's what I'm hoping, that women have that zero tolerance for anybody that they even like on social media. It's a zero tolerance. It's the same as, I really treat this the same as if someone sexually harasses you. That's a zero tolerance. Zero. It's the same way if someone says something really super that they know is intended to scare someone. Zero tolerance. You need to go. And I hope that bar, more women have that bar to say, I don't need to follow this person just because I liked their podcast in the past, but now they're kind of scary. Just unfollow, because you know what? There are people like you, there are people, other podcasts, there's someone else that doesn't do the scary part and that has the same kind of knowledge, that has the same kind of, and I dare to say kindness. There just isn't. People over the years have asked me, well, why are you not working with, companies to promote blah, blah, blah? And I said, because I don't attach myself to other people's stuff, and because I know that there's no science. I'm just not going to. If I like a product, I will talk about it. I'm taking this and I like it in a group. I will never go on Instagram and be like, guess what I'm doing? Mm-hmm. But if I'm talking to clients and they ask me, I said, well, this is what I'm doing. But that's it. I'm not just selling them a 20% coupon code for something, because I believe in supporting companies that are doing good. I believe in supporting content creators and experts that are doing good by recommending them, referring them. That is the best system, and that's how I like. When people contact me, it's usually a referral of some sort, or they've been following me for a long time and they like that I don't do all that crap. It isn't because I have 500,000 followers. I don't have them. It's because I just am consistent in my stuff.
Well, I love it because, we've seen people blow up, right? Like, we've seen people blow up. And I remember there was a moment where I was like, I know where I could go here because I see these people blowing up and I'm not blowing up. The road to growth in that middle road is much more, it's the Valley of Neutrality when it comes to growth. But I just think it appeals to people because they want one thing, right? We all want one thing. And I know when I was going through perimenopause and menopause and I had health problems, it's just like, oh my God, that will be the thing that will fix my gut. That will be the thing that will help me. And it's usually not one thing. Like that's the problem, right? It's usually like a number of things. And once we figure that stuff out, it makes it a little easier. But I'm glad to hear about that. It's just, I know in the middle, I was kind of like questioning myself, like, what am I doing here? Like, it just feels, we've got a little mighty army of reasonable, kind people. So I'm happy about that. And and the thing is, you have done so well. Like, yeah, you don't have 1 million followers, but you work with Respin. You're Halle Berry's menopause coach, for goodness sake. Like, how the heck? Like, that's like...
I think it's people, I have had people say, wow, you're so lucky, you've met people, and like, this has nothing to do with luck. This has something to do with me just staying on my lane and doing the thing. Yeah. I've always been consistent. I've been in this space for a really long time. I've written for fitness magazines, I've been to conferences, and at no point in time has it been my priority to grow my following online. None, ever. It still isn't. That's not how I measure success. And I will never measure it. If social media would go tomorrow, that nothing would happen to me. because it's not, I've never even gotten business off of social media. Like I've never sold anything online. It is a way for me to reach people that I can't. But again, it is, do you want to make that pact with the devil? Because it is, I know that you've had probably offers to maybe be a spokesperson for something and you didn't want to, you're like, I don't know, I could make some money, maybe I could.
Yeah, when you start doing that, it's not good. Like when you start.
No.
Even someone
You will
offered me
lose everything.
someone offered me, the big one was someone offered me, I'm not on hormone therapy just because it hasn't worked for me, but I would have gone on it. It just didn't work out. But someone offered me $1,000 a month to go on hormone therapy and talk about it. And I thought that was interesting because obviously it has to go well. If it doesn't go well, then am I still going to get the $1,000? I don't know. Like that's not, that wasn't my point, but it's like, that doesn't sound like that's a good arrangement. Yeah. I think when you're like, should I take the money? That's not enough money to sell your soul for anyway.
No, it is. For me, it's always like, do I like this thing? And then if I get paid for it, then it's even better.
Yeah. Even better.
But
Yeah.
I have to like, and I have to be passionate about the project itself. And it could be anything really in that realm. I've done all sorts of things, but I'm always excited about it. And then the negotiation is secondary. I'm not going to do things for free unless it's like nonprofits. I do plenty of stuff for free. But when it comes down to this kind of stuff, it isn't worth losing everything you've worked for from a credibility. For me, integrity is the core. It's my core. My core value is integrity. I will never, for anybody, I don't care who they are, ever, ever, ever compromise my integrity. Not even if my best friends were to ask me to do something that would, first of all, they wouldn't, but I'm just saying that's how strongly I feel about it. I will lose people and friendships and relationships and partnerships and whatever over that. If that isn't there, I'm just not, because then who are you? It's like you're giving your soul away. And there's not, I don't care.
It would feel terrible. It would feel terrible. Okay, so back to women in perimenopause and menopause. I love how you emphasize consistency over perfection in these smaller workouts. Can you just talk to us about how that works out? Because I spent my life thinking I needed to do 90 minutes here and, an hour there always. And it's been a battle for me to cut that down and realize that less is more frequent is more.
Yes, well, less is more doable, which ends up being more in the long run, for sure. Basic math, if you were to quit your 90-minute workouts 3 months from now, but you're still turtling along with your 10 minutes forever, you're going to have more success. So what I have found out over, working in this industry for 20 plus years is that, especially in this stage that we are, that setting a parameter on I have to do 60 minutes means it's an all or nothing approach often, and people will choose nothing if they can't do what they had set out to do, because there's a failure aspect to not being able to do it. So when we look at success as any movement is success, then it becomes achievable, because anything we do, it could be lunging across your hall, that's success. You just did that. And then it becomes a habit. I mean, really, just, you can't even imagine not going down the hall lunging, because why would you not? And so making these little, and the science is there. That's another thing, is like the science is there that supports that even 5-minute intervals several times during the day, it's that accumulation of movement that does the trick from a longevity perspective and from a mortality perspective. We know that's there. Science is there to support that. And the success, more importantly, how it changes how you identify with movement and the success that it brings. It does change when you're like, oh, I did 10 squats 6 times today. That felt good. And you can kind of check it off. I do these bingo cards at Respin where it's a gamified approach of 25 squares, and every month it's a different topic, but wanting to have something that, and women love to put it on their fridge or wherever it is. I have it behind my screen, the new one. And so you look up and I always have one square that is something doable that you can do right then and there, and you can then mark it off. And there's a accomplishment that comes with it.
Love it.
Right? And so it's still figuring out what motivates you, but there isn't anybody that can say, I can't do 5 of this right here. And if you need to do 5 of this for the whole week and not do anything else, bravo, I'll give you a high five. If you hadn't done this last week, you just did 5 more of what you didn't do last week. And then we build upon it, but it's that, and celebrating every single tiny little step along the way. That's another big one. Just say, I did that today. and then tomorrow, because it entices you to do more. Versus I have to carve out 60 minutes for this, and then something happened. A call ran along. Your dog needs to go to the vet. I need to pick up my daughter because something at school. Like, we have life. Your parents call, someone broke a hip, or I don't know. It is something always happens, and then you don't have that 60 minutes. But if you can say, I have 2 minutes.
2 minutes?
Then it happens. So.
Okay. How about lifting heavy? This is something that is plaguing us. Just, you see these women just have these giant weights. I see you doing it too, but yeah, that seems really inaccessible to a lot of women. How do you frame your mind?
If you love lifting heavy, then I love it. It does a lot to my brain. I then continue doing it, but we have the science to support that it's not necessary. Is it beneficial? Yes, you're going to get stronger, you can grow muscle, but you can do that at a lower weight as well. And we know that that is true. So that narrative again to scare, and sadly, I've had to unfollow many people that have fallen into that track of just, that's it, women have to do high intensity interval training and heavy lifting or else. Like, what are you doing with your life if you don't do this? There's just no science to support that that is the only way to accomplish what you want to accomplish. So lifting lower weights at a higher repetition, lower repetition, all of it works. It all works as long as we're challenging our muscles to a degree that we're progressing with weight, and this can be starting here and going there. You don't have to lift heavy ever to continuously grow muscle and get stronger. But again, you can, and feels really good to be able to lift those weights, but you don't have to. And you're absolutely right. The amount of women that come to me that say, well, how do I get into heavy lifting? I said, have you lifted at all? Well, no. We need to start just with a regular, consistent routine. Yeah. Heavy lifting is like way down the road if you haven't started. Like, it shouldn't even be on your radar if you're not consistently doing some sort of resistance training at least 3 times a week consistently, then heavy lifting shouldn't even be on it doesn't need to be on your radar at all. So forget that ever existed. Let's see how we can get you consistent in a routine. I'd prefer women do it every day, a lower weight, if that's what entices them. I also want to say, I talk to a lot of women that have remote jobs and they have like 2 sets of dumbbells under their table. And that's what they have from an equipment perspective. Mm-hmm. So that's where we have to meet women. Mm-hmm. That's what you got. Let's see what we can do with that. Mm-hmm. Because that is what's going to get you to do something. While you have 10 minutes in between a break, you can do a little mini workout. Like, that's how we get people to, where are you in life? Let me meet you there.
Yeah, and I know you're a trainer, but it always irks me a little bit to the assumption that people have a trainer. I mean, it's really inaccessible for a lot of people, right? Like, just, that's the bar, is like, with your trainer. It's like, no.
No. And you don't need to, but there's so much free content out there now, which lots of people have really great free content when it comes from an exercise perspective. But it also, you do not need to reinvent the wheel. There's so many things that you can do that are not technically complicated. And if you are unsure, then it might be worth hiring someone for an hour to just go over basic exercises, and then you don't need them for a really long time. I do that with a lot of women where I just either meet over a Zoom or I meet them in person because I can't take on more clients, but I have to say, let's meet, I'll create something for you, I'll make sure that you got the technique right because we don't want you to hurt yourself, and then you're on your own. Teach me how to do it and then move on. Yeah. That's the best when you get to people. There's such a, I don't know, I don't want people to rely on me. I want people to be self-sufficient when it comes to working out, because I can't see people every day. And any trainer that tells you that you do need to work out with them for every workout, they don't have your best interest at heart. That just, isn't there. There's a monetary component. And again, we all need to make money, but you shouldn't have to work out with a trainer. And you don't need to.
You found the hormone therapy regime that works for you. Any advice that you can give people who are trying it, thinking about it?
Yes. So for me, I am on hormone therapy. I like it. I think it has helped me a little. Well, hot flashes for sure. And I think I sleep better. It has helped me a little bit with my musculoskeletal pain. I have a lot of pain. Like, that was a symptom that was really big for me. And I had anxiety very early on, which I don't anymore. And I have to say, it's made a little difference. I still have pain. but it isn't there. And I had to go up and down and try it out. I don't take progesterone. So I started with progesterone. I have an IUD, so I don't need to take it for protective factor. But I started having nightmares with the progesterone. And I noticed that, and I have talked to a lot of women that say, yes, they have very vivid dreams in the beginning, but then it tends to go away for a lot of women. For me, it didn't. And so it didn't work out for me. So my guidance always is try it out if you're curious, but you don't have to stay on it. So it isn't something, and it requires a lot of tweaking. And people that are on it for years are constantly having to tweak. You know, you might have to go up, you might have to go down. And then reevaluate, is this still something that you want to use, and why are you using it? So for me, I've had specific reasons, and for me it's working. And I don't know how long I'm going to be on it. I'm not going to be on it just to be on it. I'm going to say that as well. So, but I'm also still in that perimenopause, journey. So once I'm in postmenopause, I'll probably reevaluate where I'm at. But don't be scared. I think one of the big things is don't be scared to say, this doesn't work for me, or one part doesn't work for me. What can I do? With the progesterone, I asked a bunch of people, and I was just like, what is happening? And I talked to my doctor, and I talked to a trusted doctor as well. Said, this is weird. And she talked to me, well, some people are just really sensitive to progesterone, so that could be it. And I thought, okay, well, do I need to take it? And my doctor's like, no, because I have an IUD, so I stopped taking it. Being able to say, I need to find my own combination is, sorry, I need to close this door.
Oh, there's another doggy there.
And my
Behind
dog
you, you
was,
just revealed another doggy. That was great. I saw the golden doodle.
He's 17 years old, and he sleeps a lot.
Oh my gosh, he's so cute.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's wrap up. If a woman is struggling and she reads your book, what's one thing you would want her to walk away with?
An idea of what's next for them. That's it. Because I'm not telling them what to do. I'm guiding them to find what's next for them. So literally a map. You saw it. I mean, when I say map, there are maps. Like I have a fairy tale map. I have
Cute.
3 different types of maps for the 3 different brains. You will walk away with a better sense of who you are. That's 100%. If you do what's in it and you go through the book intentionally, you will have a better sense of who you are and where you want to go. I have no doubt about it. And that's why I'm so excited about it.
Awesome.
So hoping that many, many women will buy it and do book clubs. I see myself doing book clubs with people. I'm very excited.
Amazing. And as you made a little reel to promote this retreat, and you said, I'm going for that spark that we both know is still there. I'm paraphrasing you, but I was editing it, and I was like, Maria, you're so inspiring me. And you're inspiring me too. We all lose it. We all get working and we lose it. So,
well, Anna, you saw the book. I have had feedback, and I've had a couple of advanced readers, and I've got some pictures of people sending me their array of colored pencils and scissors that they had and how they've had it out. And that brought me so much joy to see the childlike, play-like approach to taking on this book, that I can't wait for people to share their maps with me. That's what I'm hoping, that I get a picture of that finished map from everyone that reads this book.
Okay, I'm going to finish mine. I'm going to finish mine.
Does the book.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see your map